The first question is, what are your thoughts on full inclusion, your point of view? Do you lean toward it? Do you not? Why? Do you lean toward partial inclusion or no inclusion in any environment with special education? So I definitely think it'd be better to have full inclusion in the general education classroom, just because I don't feel like partial or none at all would be beneficial whatsoever. Partial maybe, it depends on how it's done. I just feel like full inclusion would be better teaching wise, and especially for the long run of that student. For the second question, within inclusion with a special education teacher, do you think they should be co-taught or pair of educated? What do you feel the role of a general education teacher is? Do you think they should have a dual certification so they are prepared to handle it? Do you feel like they should leave it up to just a special education teacher? Okay. I definitely feel like I've only had co-taught, and I feel like that worked really well because the teacher, the general teacher and the special education teacher got along really well. They figured out how to work together. Sometimes they would tackle different things in different ways, but they knew how to handle it just from experience of teaching together. I've never had a general education teacher without a special education teacher that they didn't know or hadn't worked with. So I definitely feel like the role of a general education teacher is, well, general education, but I also feel like they have a responsibility to the special education students. Just because they are special education students doesn't mean they can't be in the general classroom. So I felt like their role is pretty much to every student. I definitely think a general education teacher would benefit from having a dual certification because even if they are just general education, they will have experience to be able to pull out students who may need the extra help. They don't have to use the certification, but it would definitely be to their benefit. I definitely don't think we should leave it up to just the special education teacher because I feel like the general teacher does have a sense of duty of being able to identify students that need the extra help. And it should be up to the general teacher to be able to help the special education teacher in any way that he or she can. Along with that knowledge, I definitely think we should provide on-job training sites for them because if you want your teachers to have that information, then I definitely think you need to be providing it or a way to provide it. The third question is, how should we train the general education teacher? Should they have a certification in special education? Do we provide on-the-job training for them, or should we look at gen ed teachers and say only you get 5 special education students because you're certified, or you don't get any because you're not certified? I definitely think we should train general teachers just because I feel like it'd be beneficial to have that training. I feel like they should have that training. They should have a certification. I definitely think we need to prepare our general education teachers with a certification. I think they should have to go to a class, maybe take a lecture, something, just to give them a little bit of training, a little bit of knowledge. I definitely feel like all teachers should have special education students just because I don't feel like only one teacher should get all of them just because they have more training than the other. I think it's beneficial for every teacher to have a special education student so they themselves can learn.